Hey guys, welcome back to Unstop Biology. So in today's video, we are going to discuss cell membrane and cell wall. So guys, if you would have watched the last video, you would have remembered that in the last video we discussed all about the eukaryotic cells, wherein we saw the differences between plant and animal cells. And what we studied that cell membrane is something which is present in the case of both the plant and animal cell, but cell wall is something which is not present in an animal cells. It is only present in the plant cells, right? So let's start with the cell membrane. Now, if you see the detailed structure of the cell membrane, it was studied only after, we discovered the electron microscope. So it was, discovered maybe around 1950s, in around 1950s. Now, you know, uh, before that, there were several studies, chemical studies on cell membrane, and especially in the human red blood cells, RBCs. Right. So this basically enabled the scientists to somehow understand the structure of plasma membrane or the cell membrane. Now, basically, these kind of studies showed that the cell membrane is composed of lipids. The cell membrane is composed of lipids, which are arranged in a bilayer. So lipids are arranged in a bilayer, right? Now, also these lipids are arranged within a membrane with the polar head towards the outer side and hydrophobic tail towards the inner part. So basically these lipids, so there is a bilayer and these lipids are arranged in such a way that the polar head towards the outside and the hydrophobic tail. So say this is the head and this is the tail. This is towards the outside. The head is towards the outside, and then we have the tail towards the inside. Right? Now, this ensures that the non-polar tail of saturated hydrocarbons is protected from aqueous environment which is present towards the outside. So basically the tail, the hydrophobic tail is nothing but non-polar and it is made up of saturated hydrocarbons. Now that is protected from the aqueous environment, right? Now apart from that, the lipid component of the membrane mainly consists of phosphoglycerides. It consists of phosphoglycerides, right? So if you see this structure as well, let's see the structure once. Right, so this is the structure, guys. Here now, what happens here is basically there were, certain other investigations that were conducted, and during that we actually got to know that the cell membranes also possess proteins and carbohydrates. So it is not just made up of lipids, it also contains proteins and carbohydrates. Now, the ratio of protein and lipid varies in different type of cells, right? So, if we talk about human beings, what happens in human beings? So, in human beings, the membrane of erythrocyte (RBC) has approximately. So, if we talk about human RBCs, it has 52% protein and around 40% lipids. Right. So this is all about what kind of substances or what kind of compounds are present in cell membrane. Now, depending upon the ease of extraction, how easily it can be extracted, membrane proteins, the proteins which are present can be classified as, so these proteins can be classified as integral and peripheral. So it can be classified as integral and peripheral. Now, if we talk about the peripheral protein, it lies on the surface of the membrane. So peripheral protein, as the name suggests, lies on the surface of the membrane, right? And integral proteins are partially or totally buried in the membrane. So integral protein. So here you can see the integral protein, right? So these are partially or totally buried in the membrane, right? So if you see this structure as well, basically this is known as the fluid mosaic model. So basically an improved model of the structure of cell membrane was proposed in 1972 and it was proposed by Singer and Nicholson. It was proposed by Singer and Nicholson. And this was named as fluid mosaic model, right? So basically, according to this model, the nature of lipid is quasi-fluid. So this quasi-fluid nature of lipid enables lateral movement of proteins within the overall bilayer. So basically it enables movement of protein in the within the bilayer. And the ability to move within the membrane is measured as its fluidity. So the more the proteins and other substances are able to move in the bilayer, the more fluid it is, right? Now, this fluid nature, which was basically given by Singer and Nicholson in 1972, is also very important from the point of view of functions. Like you have cell growth, you have formation of intercellular junctions. So in between cells, you have junctions, right? You have various secretions which is passed. You have endocytosis, you have cell division. So all this would not have been possible if the layer would be very, very rigid, if the layer would not have been fluid, right? Now let's discuss about the function of plasma membrane. What are the functions of plasma membrane? So again, I'll show you the structure once before we move forward. So here, as you see, you have certain sugars here, right? This is the peripheral protein, it is on the periphery. This is the integral protein, it is embedded basically. And these two layers that you see with the head and tail inside, head towards the outer side, tail in the inside. This is one of the bilayer. This is another bilayer. So you have a lipid bilayer, right? And then in between here and there you have deposition of cholesterol as well. You have cholesterol as well, right? So this is the fluid mosaic model basically. So now let's move towards what are the important functions. So let's see what are the important functions of plasma membrane. Now the very first function is transport of molecules across it, right? So it is fluid and it is semi-permeable membrane. So there are certain molecules which can be transported across the cell membrane or plasma membrane. Now the membrane is selectively permeable. Remember that it is not permeable to all kind of molecules. It is selectively permeable to some molecules which are present on the either side of it, right? Now, many molecules can move briefly across the membrane without any requirement of energy. And thus, this kind of transport is known as passive transport. It is known as passive transport. But there are certain neutral solutes that may move across the membrane by the process of simple diffusion. Now, this happens along the concentration gradient, right? So from higher concentration to lower concentration, submolecules move. Water may also move across this membrane, but that also moves from higher concentration to lower concentration, right? Now, what do you remember? What do we call movement of water by diffusion? It is known as osmosis. So, osmosis also happens in cell membrane or plasma membrane. Now, as the polar molecules, any polar molecules cannot pass through the non-polar lipid bilayer because it is a non-polar layer, right? So they require a carrier protein on the membrane to facilitate their transport across the membrane, right? So there are a few ions or molecules which are transported across the membrane against their concentration gradient. So you move from low or from lower to higher. You move from lower to higher concentration, right? Now, such kind of transport is basically an energy dependent process. So basically, you need energy in order to move these polar transports. And such kind of energy dependent where ATP is utilized, transport is known as active transport, right? So basically, you have sodium potassium pump. That is one of the examples, right? Where sodium or potassium is passed with the help of energy and it is an active transport, guys. Now let's see what exactly is cell wall, right? So there is, basically it is a non-living rigid structure, right? It is a non-living rigid structure which is known as cell wall, and it forms an outer covering for the plasma membrane in case of what? In case of fungi and plants. Right, so it is a non-living rigid structure which forms an outer covering for the plasma membrane of fungi and plants. Now, cell wall not only gives shape to the cell, guys. So, basically, the major function of cell wall is giving shape, right? So, it gives shapes. It also protects the cell from any kind of mechanical damage or infection. So it doesn't just give shape to the cell, it gives protection as well, right? Now it also helps in cell to cell interaction, and it basically provides barrier to any kind of undesirable macromolecules, right? So it gives barrier as well. It basically, serves the purpose of barrier as well in case of undesirable macromolecules. Now, in case of algae, they have cell wall which is made up of cellulose, right? So, algae has cell wall made up of cellulose, galactans, mannans, and minerals like calcium carbonate. In case of plants, so the cell wall of a young plant cell is known as the primary wall. Now, primary wall is also capable of growth and it diminishes as the cell matures, and secondary wall is formed on the inner side of the cell, right? So, in case of young plants, primary wall is capable of growth and it ultimately grows into a mature secondary wall, right? Now there is a middle lamella as well. Now this middle lamella basically is the layer between cell wall and cell membrane or plasma membrane. Now middle lamella is a layer which is made up of calcium pectate, right? So it is made up of calcium pectate, very very important, guys, right? And it holds or glues together the different kind of neighboring cells. So what it does is it basically holds plasma membrane and cell wall together, right? Now, basically, the cell wall and the middle lamellae may be traversed by plasmodesmata, which connects the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. So, if you remember, while we saw the diagram of the cell, there was a cell wall, right? And inside was the cell membrane, and there were certain, holes, there were certain openings. These openings were plasmodesmata. So this basically is, present on the cell wall and it connects the cytoplasm of neighboring cells. So guys, with this we have finished the entire cell wall and cell membrane, and I hope you would have understood it. Again, very basic but very very important. You'll have to remember all these terms, as in what is active transport, what is passive transport, what is cell wall made up of, what is cell membrane made up of, what is the structure of cell membrane, what was the model, what kind of compounds are present in that, what is middle lamella, what is middle example are made up of. So you'll have to remember all these things. It is very, very important from your exam point of view, whether it's board or NEET UG. So I hope you understood it very well. If yes, guys, do not forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and yes, if you're new to the channel, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel for all the interesting updates. And if you have any doubt, please feel free to comment on the video and ask your doubts. You can also send in your doubts over WhatsApp. I have given the WhatsApp number in the description of this video. And yes, guys, if you have any specific feedback for me so that I can improve as per your understanding, please do not forget to give your feedback in the comment section as soon as you watch the video. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.